Vincent! Harper ran after him. The dog was standing on the center of the flower man's chest, tail wagging, lone ear flapping in the wind of the storm, while the man lay flat on his back on the cobblestoned walkway. Harper dropped her umbrella and scooped him into her arms at once. The dog, not the flower man. "Are you okay?" she asked, bending over the fellow and looking into his eyes to check for consciousness. He frowned, deeply enough to guarantee that yes, he was awake, and no, he was not a happy camper at the moment. "I don't know." Surrounded by pretty purple flowers, a frowning man had never looked quite so ethereal. They encircled him completely. Lying there in the water, with blooms scattered all about, he reminded Harper of Sir John Everett Malay's famous painting, Ophelia. Except the subject of Ophelia was dead in a river. And this man was very alive, and by all appearances very grumpy, in a puddle of dirty rainwater. Wincing, he pushed himself to his feet. "Damn it." "Are you hurt?" "My ankle. I must have twisted it." He looked down at his right hand. There was a trail of blood by his thumb. It mixed with the rain, thinning and lightening. If it had been oil paint, it would have been carmine red. "And I have a cut on my hand." "But you're upright. That's an improvement." He glared at her. She glared right back. She probably should have apologized on behalf of Vincent. But the truth was, she didn't want to. "I'm sorry" were words that had never come easy to Harper, and this guy's attitude was beginning to grate on her nerves. She glanced at the flowers that lay at their feet. Violets. Such a modest flower. Pretty enough, but lacking the colorful drama and splendor of the irises, sunflowers, or poppies that Van Gogh painted. She wondered if Van Gogh had ever painted violets before. Not to her knowledge. And if anyone in this day and age would know, it would have been Harper. With her free hand, she took her wallet from her purse and pulled out a 20. She glanced back down at the ground, the upended basket, and the wet, ruined, trampled violets ground into the cobblestones. The delicate petals had taken on the quality of crushed grapes on the pavement. For good measure, she pulled out another $20 bill. "Here, will this cover all of them? How much do you usually charge?" She offered the money to the man. He made no move to take it, but rather scowled at the bills and then at her. So much for going the extra mile. She should have stuck to just the one $20 bill. "What is that for?" She waved the money around a bit. Bait. She wished he would go ahead and take it. She felt like an idiot just holding it like that, and it was getting all wet. "For your flowers. I'm not sure what you charge for them. Will this be enough?" His eyes narrowed. Piercing blue eyes, framed with tangled, wet, dark lashes. When he aimed his gaze directly at Harper, she had to remind herself to breathe for some strange reason. "I wasn't selling them," he spat. "Oh." She blinked. What on earth was he doing with a giant basket of violets? It wasn't the sort of arrangement a man might give a woman. She'd just jumped to the logical conclusion that he was selling them. Was that really such a horrible thing to assume? Judging by the look on his face, yes. Yes, it was. His square jaw was practically throbbing with tension, and those blue eyes of his were so frosty, a shiver ran up her spine. Or maybe the shiver was due to the fact that she was soaked to the bone. "Is that what you think? That I sell flowers out of a basket on the street corner?" He made it sound like it was one step up from begging for spare change. "Calm down. I thought you sold flowers. I didn't say you were a panhandler." She couldn't help but cast a wry look at his clothes. He was a mess. Enough of a mess to suggest he'd been a mess even before Vincent had knocked him down. Grass stains on the legs of his jeans, mud caked on his hiking boots, and a plain white t-shirt, soaked and transparent. She had to give credit where credit was due, though, and in this instance, it was due somewhere beneath that dampened t-shirt that clung to muscles the likes of which she wasn't sure she'd seen on an actual living, breathing man. Unless Channing Tatum counted as human, and she wasn't entirely sure he did. He was more of a mythical creature, like a unicorn.